Each of these three has their own theory about how the murder mystery is supposed to play out in the finished script. I'd appreciate it if you'd listen to what they have to say and then tell me what you think.
Sure.
So, what's the deal? You guys are mystery experts or something?
This is Junya Nakacho. He's our assistant director. And that's Tomohiro Haba, the props master.
Nice to meet you.
Finally, we have...
Ciao, ciao!
Misaki Sawakiguchi, PR rep.
Thanks for coming all the way to Class F. This is gonna be awesome!
Yeah, sure. I'm kinda getting a weird vibe from these three.
Alright then, we'll let you get started.
Have fun, we'll talk soon!
Hope it goes well.
Sorry we got even more people dragged into this mess. The movie was a blast when we first started out, but without an ending we're kinda screwed, so thanks a lot for helping.
Sure.
Oh, I almost forgot. Here, I brought these for everyone to share. What are they? Whiskey-filled chocolates, huh? Promotional samples of a new product, apparently.
That's strong!
Well, wanna get started?
Why don't you give us your perspective as a member of the film crew? Would you say it was a difficult shoot?
The performance and production side of things was pretty fun, actually. It was just getting out there that was a pain in the butt. By bus and train, the trip was more than an hour. I mean, would it have killed them to choose someplace closer?
Why do you think they chose that location?
I guess someone recommended it because it had an interesting look to it.
I've heard about the deserted village in the Narakubo area, but I'm surprised you were allowed to film there.
The person who recommended it had an in with a property manager. What's this got to do with anything, though?
You never know what information might hold an important clue. Please, let's continue.
Actually, if you don't mind me interrupting, I'd love to know how Hongo is doing.
Not very well from the sound of it. But honestly, I wasn't too surprised when she got sick.
Why's that? Is she the type of person who gets sick a lot or something?
Yeah, she's been absent from school a whole bunch of times throughout the year. She didn't make it out to the shoot either.
She worked that hard on the script, but then didn't come to the shoot? How did the crew feel about Hongo's script? Was it pretty well received?
Of course it was! No one had any problems with it. I mean, why would they?
You sound a little defensive. I'm sorry, did I hit a nerve?
I'm not being defensive. I'm just telling you that everyone liked Hongo's script, and that includes me!
Let's move on to a different question.
Sure.
So did Hongo say anything to the actors about which of them might be playing the murderer?
No, there's not really anything I can think of. Well, maybe. It might not mean anything, but I remember she made a point to wish Konosu good luck.
Which she could easily have said to anyone.
So then, have you interviewed all the actors about this? To see if Hongo said anything to them that might be helpful?
No, none of them.
As assistant director, did you observe anything else that might be significant?
Significant? Like how? Well, question's over. So maybe you'd like to hear my theory about the murderer now?
More than anything.
If you ask me, your typical viewer doesn't care about fancy plot devices. All they want is a good story. That's him! He's the murderer! Once his guilt is revealed, the culprit breaks down in tears and confesses his crimes. The mystery's solved and everyone goes home happy. I think that's just the sort of satisfying ending the audience would expect after the horrifying discovery of Kaito's body. Our props guy did a great job with that scene, even on the fly.
On the fly? You're saying the scene was ad-lib?
Yeah, everybody got all fussy about it, though. Going on about the rules of a mystery. It's the drama of the story that matters, not the details. I say play the title straight. The Case of the Furuoka Deserted Village Murder. Putting death right there in the title is a good way to sell seats. I bet you Hongo knew that much about mystery flicks.
Okay then, do you want to tell us your theory of the crime?
Given the way he died, you know what this was, right? A locked room murder. Kaito was found in a room with only one door and it was locked. So how'd the killer get out? That's the real question here.
And you think you have an answer?
Sure, it's simple. Through the window.
The window?
Yeah, the murderer kills Kaito, then climbs out the window. It's pretty obvious if you think about it.
Hold on. My memory's a little bit fuzzy here. Satoshi, you have the floor plan?
Yes, sir. I've got it right here, as a matter of fact. There. Let's take a look. This is the room where Kaito died, in the stage left wing. The other characters enter the room here through the right hallway. Except initially the door was locked, so 2 of the characters head back down the hall to get the master key.
Then they return, open the door, and find Kaito dead inside the room. There were 2 other entry points, but they were totally blocked with furniture and other junk.
So, as Nakajo suggested, there were only 2 points of access to the murder scene. The door everyone came in through, and the window on this wall.
Except that doesn't mean much of anything if Hongo didn't know when she wrote the script. Oh, I'm sorry. I just mean,
You're totally right. That's important.
How do you figure?
What if she wrote the script without seeing the place? If the story was based on the floor plan alone, she might have considered other escape routes for the murderer to have taken.
She saw it. Hongo went to visit the shoot location before she started writing the script.
Do you know when she went to see it?
I think it was June. No, maybe the end of May, actually.
Is that so?
So, there you go, right? The killer came in and went out through the window. No need for a door at all. Just climb in, do the deed, and climb back out. Mystery solved. Boom!
Really? Boom?
That works, but it wouldn't make for a very well-crafted mystery.
Why would it be well-crafted? It's not like Hongo was an expert on mysteries. It didn't really seem like she had anything fancy in mind.
Okay, then who's the killer?
What do you mean?
Even if we say your theory about how it went down is true, can you tell us who the killer is?
Well...
You didn't take into account the fact that we get a look outside the window after everyone arrives at the scene, did you? The grass was way overgrown. Anyone passing through it would have left a pretty obvious trail, but from what I recall, nothing looked like it was even a little bit out of place. That doesn't line up with your theory. The killer couldn't have fled through the window.
I don't know, maybe Hongo forgot to write that part in.
Now you're grasping at straws. Come on! Hongo wasn't a slacker. From what we've heard, her writing was consistent.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Wait a sec! It's summer now! Don't you get it? Remember how I said that Hongo went to scout out the site back at the end of May? Well, at that point in time, the summer grass hadn't grown in yet. So she probably wouldn't have taken the grass into account when she wrote the scene. All we have to do is cut the grass and reshoot the dead body scene, then everything should fall neatly in a place top to bottom. And there you have it! Boom! See? We solved it. The killer fled through the window. Now we can get back to shooting and finishing this movie. Thanks! See you later!
You think he's right? It's not much of a plot twist.
It isn't fancy, but it is feasible at least.
Feasible and lame.
Well, Oreki, do you think Nakajo's theory is in line with what Hongo originally intended?
It doesn't sit right with you?
I wouldn't say that. I'm not totally convinced, that's all.
In other words, it doesn't sit right with you.
Yeah.
Well, I can definitely see flaws in Nakajo's version of events.
Huh? Would you care to elaborate?
What seems like a simple solution to the physical problem of a locked room is made problematic itself by the psychology involved.
Say what now?
You think you could find a more convoluted way of putting it? Every bit the cerebral detective.
Would you mind explaining what you meant exactly?
Just that any killer with an instinct for self-preservation wouldn't risk going in through the window. The window's here, right? If you go in that way, you're practically guaranteed to be seen by somebody. There are other windows here, here, and here. Walking around in broad daylight, there's no way you're going to go unnoticed.
Good call. If I were the killer, that would probably be the last way I'd go.
Well, that's my take anyway.
I get your point, but did Hongo see the same problems you did? There's no way for us to know.
You may be right, but I do think if we can get our hands on a copy of the script, that would help us figure some stuff out.
I'm curious. When it comes to mysteries, what kind does everybody read?
Why?
I got to thinking while we were listening to Nakajo talk. He has his own idea of what a mystery should look like, but what do we all think?
Nakajo's idea of a mystery seems as sophisticated as a kid's picture book.
What kind do you read then?
No, just the standard bestsellers, really.
And you, Mayaka?
Old stuff. You know, like Christie.
The classics, huh? What about you, Chitanda?
I don't read them.
Seriously? Not at all?
It's not that I've never read one, it's just I haven't bothered to in a long time. The truth is, I don't really care for mystery novels. I guess I've read enough of them to know that much, at least.
That blows my mind. Didn't see that one coming.
Okay, so what's your mystery genre of choice?
Oh, me? Well, you know.
He may not want to come right out and say it, but Fuku here fancies himself to be a Sherlockian.
What? I've never heard of a Sherlockian before.
From the name, I'd say it refers to a passionate fan of Sherlock Holmes.
Very passionate. Seriously hardcore, right?
I don't know if that's really how I would describe it. You might be oversimplifying a little bit.
Did the interview go well?
Yeah, I guess. We rejected Nakajo's idea, though.
Very well, I understand.
There's one other thing.
What is it?
You think you could get us a copy of the script? We'd like to get a better feel for Hongo's attention to detail.
I'll see if I can find one. It may take me some time. While I'm looking, you can speak with our props master, Tomohiro Haba. He's waiting just outside.
Hey there. I understand the four of you know your mystery stories. You know, if you think of a mystery as a contest between author and reader, an amateur writer like poor Hongo is bound to come up a little short.
We heard that she didn't have a lot of experience with the genre.
Yeah, she used those books to get ideas for how to write the screenplay. Until she started working on this film, I don't think she'd seen any crime shows or movies or read any mystery novels.
Oh, the Nobuhara translation. Looks like the latest editions.
She was teaching herself how to write a mystery by reading Holmes novels?
See what I mean? Obviously, Hongo was a total amateur.
I suppose you could put it that way.
Hey, Oreki, look at this.
What is it?
There are some strange-looking marks here on this paper. See? Here's another one. They're on here, too.
She probably just marked the story she wanted to draw from.
You really think that's all?
Well, anyway, when are we gonna work on our own mystery?
What is this?
A floor plan from Town Hall.
Oh.
We're interested to hear your theory.
If you want my opinion, this mystery is not especially difficult to solve. Not if you're experienced with this sort of thing.
Is that so?
The first point I would make is that the murder was not premeditated. Rather, circumstances simply fell neatly into place and the killer seized that opportunity to act.
Why do you say that?
It couldn't have been pre-planned, since there was no way to guarantee Kaito would end up in that room. The keys were spread out on the table, remember? Everybody picked one up at random, and that's what decided where they went to explore. Now then, this is a locked room murder, right? All points of escape were effectively blocked, aside from the window, and the ground outside of that showed no sign of having been recently disturbed. That tells us whoever killed Kaito could not have escaped using conventional methods. And, of course, let's not forget the question of how the killer entered the room in the first place. Could they have used the master key and then replaced it afterwards? That is clearly an implausible explanation. In order to get to the office where the keys were, they would have to risk passing through the front lobby here. That would put them in danger of being seen by any of the other characters who were moving about the building, so we can easily write off that possibility. And the office isn't the only area the killer couldn't reach. The first floor hallway down the right side is the only open route leading to the room in which Kaito was found, but none of the others could have accessed it. Can anyone tell us why?
For the same reason you already gave, they couldn't risk walking through the lobby and being seen by somebody.
A good deduction. Plus, how could someone reach that room and still have time to re-enter from the correct direction when they regrouped? So other possibilities. Perhaps Kaito's death could have been a suicide disguised to look like a murder? Given the fact his arm was taken off, I'd say that's highly unlikely. All in all, this could be a difficult murder to solve. At least for someone who doesn't have experience with these things. But not for you. This is your specialty, right? What do you think the solution is to this murder mystery?
Well, gosh, I just don't know.
The mystery expert doesn't know. Well, I suppose I can't really blame you. This is the key.
Some rope?
I am the props master, remember? And Hongo specifically asked me to procure this. She said we needed to find a rope that was strong enough that it could support the full weight of a person. I'm sure you can see where this is leading, right? Just think. The killer couldn't enter from the first floor, but what about the second floor? Konosu was the one who went upstairs to the right-hand hallway. Konosu is in the Mountaineering Club, although you wouldn't know it from looking at her. She dangled the rope out of the second floor window, climbed down it to the stage left wing, killed Kaito, then escaped using the same route. If I were going to decide on a title for the movie, let me think. I suppose I'd go with something like The Unseen Incursion. All right, I'm ready to hear what you guys think.
What other props were there? Did Hongo ask for anything interesting besides the strong rope?
No, she didn't have very many requests, which I think speaks to her lack of experience. For example, the amount of blood she asked for wasn't nearly enough. Fortunately, I had the foresight to prepare extra so we would have plenty on hand. Now, will there be anything else? If not, I'll just be going. What is it?
This may seem like a silly question, but have you seen the movie yet?
Actually, I haven't had the chance to.
That's it. Now I'm grouchy.
Yeah, about what?
That guy's attitude. I mean, he even made fun of Sherlock Holmes. Didn't that bother you at all, Fuku?
Not really.
How could it not?
I think Sherlock Holmes stories are perfect for newcomers to the mystery genre. And that's exactly what Hongo was, so why shouldn't she start there?
So what do we think about Haba's conclusion?
Well, it seemed like a pretty good one to me. I'm not saying I like the guy, but there must be a reason Hongo asked for rope, and he makes a solid case for his explanation.
Unfortunately, I can't argue with it either.
I don't know. I'm not completely convinced that he's right. Just like with Nakajo's explanation, I can't say what exactly, but something about it feels a little off to me. I don't know, maybe it's silly, but I don't think that's what Hongo intended when she was writing the script.
You really put down a lot of those.
Whoa!
Whoops! Did I eat all of them? I couldn't decide if I liked them, so I kept trying them to see if I could make up my mind.
How are you feeling, Chi?
Oh, I feel totally fine. Pretty great, actually. Haba's theory! Oreki, do you think he's on the right track or what?
No, I think he's wrong.
Why's that?
It's not the idea itself that's an issue. That part's solid enough. But it doesn't work in this particular movie.
Why not?
It's inconsistent with what was filmed.
Oh, I see. The window, huh?
It probably hadn't been open in years since the place was abandoned. Katsuta gave it a good pull, and it still didn't want to open, so it must have been shut tight. Plus, it creaked loudly and opened upward. It would be impossible to open it quietly while dangling from a rope. Do we really think Kaito would just stand there doing nothing while somebody was rattling at the window?
That would be pretty dumb.
That explains why you asked Haba whether or not he'd seen the movie.
Hongo had gone there to scope out the place. If the window was such an important plot point, she would have checked to see if it would open or not. But we all saw the footage, right? Obviously, the state of the window wasn't a big concern for her.
I can't believe I was so quick to buy that jerk's idea!
How did it go this time?
Rejected.
Very well. Here you are. I brought the script.
Thank you. This should be helpful.
Hey, that looks cool! Can I have one too?
Tipsy much?
I'm just fine, thank you.
Come on, let us see.
Looks pretty well laid out to me.
She didn't skimp on details.
Look at this note. Make sure there are no footprints outside the window.
Nakajo's theory is totally out then. There's still one person left. Sawakiguchi, right?
Sorry, my late. Ciao!
Hello there, Sawakiguchi. I mean, ciao.
I'd love to get this sorted out. There's not much I can do on the publicity front till we've got a title. It's not like I can start making posters or anything. It's way past time we get this whole script thing settled, if you ask me.
I've been wondering, did Hongo volunteer herself to write the screenplay?
Nope. She was recommended.
And making the film a mystery?
Voted by the majority.
What about the idea to make a movie in the first place?
I think we're getting a little off track here.
I don't think so. I'm curious.
Here, I have the meeting minutes. If it'll help, you're welcome to take a look.
Great, thank you.
Alrighty. Is everybody ready to listen to what I have to say? First, I'd like to know what you picture in your head when you hear the word mystery. Let's start with this guy.
Murder on the Orient Express?
A boring old whodunit book?
How lame can you get?
Huh?
Think about what you see if you're renting a movie. It's all slasher flicks, the kind of stuff that's full of blood and gore and chainsaws. You know what I mean?
Except those are horror films.
Yeah, sure, I know what you mean.
Huh?
Think about it from the perspective of someone who's not all that interested in the genre. They wouldn't draw a distinction between mystery and horror.
So anyway, the problem is that no one could get into the room where Kaito died, right? So obviously there must have been a seventh person.
What?
Hongo was looking for another actor in addition to the original 6.
Huh?
Just think about it. They all begin to suspect one another. And right about the time their paranoia starts to peak, the Phantom Psycho Killer appears out of nowhere.
Phantom Killer?
I'm not sure how many of them get killed off, but I think the best bet is to have one couple left alive, for a little romance. Together they're able to defeat the Phantom, and they share a kiss at sunrise. As for the title, Bloody Beast would work. Or whatever. That might be a bit cheesy. So what do you think? Good story, right?
Except the room where Kaito died was locked. So how did the killer get out?
Isn't it obvious? He's a phantom. Phantom killers can walk through walls, can't they? But if that doesn't work... I know! It could be a vengeful spirit. Yeah! That's even better!
She's totally, completely wrong! There's no way that's how Hongo meant for it to end when she wrote the screenplay!
Getting a little worked up. I agree, though. That sounds more like a bad joke than a movie.
But technically speaking, it would fit with what's been filmed so far.
It's wrong! Just wrong!
Yeah, maybe. But can you disprove it?
What's wrong is wrong! The end!
You okay?
It's like looking into a kaleidoscope.
What do you mean?
Hey, can you hear me? Hello? I think she's asleep.
I have to admit, Sawakiguchi's idea may have been crazy, but I kind of like that about it.
To be honest, I sort of like it too.
I'll bet you do.
There are some inconsistencies, though.
Like what?
We all saw how detailed the script was. If Hongo had been planning that kind of horror twist for the second half of it, she would have arranged for the necessary props, don't you think? One prop in particular.
And what would this particular prop be?
You know, the one Haba had the foresight to make lots of.
Oh.
Hongo only asked for a small amount of fake blood. The description in the script seems to back that up. Knowing that, we can assume she wasn't planning on a movie with a high body count.
I buy it. Not much of a horror movie with only one dead person.
It's starting to feel like we're never going to figure this out.
What did you think of this theory?
Reject it again.
Come on, Chi, let's get you home.
I'm sorry about this.
3 possible endings, but none of them work. I wonder what's gonna happen to their movie now.
Well, they won't be able to finish it, will they?
Kinda depressing, isn't it? Summer grass, 'tis all that remains of ancient warriors' dreams. Later.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I can't believe that!
No matter how much passion goes into a film, without real skill, it feels amateur.
Totally. Yeah, I know, right? And I haven't even told you the best one.
Hello. I wonder if you might have time for a cup of tea.
今夜恋に変わる幸せな夢で会おうきっとね見つけてね待っとる身の約束 「
友達にしてるのと同じ明け方に消えてく小さな願い星夜の間だけの魔法は今夜恋に変わる幸せな夢であろうきっとね見つけてねまどろみの約束
Next time, blind spot to all.